Yo, what's going on, guys? So, today I have a special video for you guys. I wanted to put this out because there was a online tournament going on just yesterday, and I actually managed to get 4th place. This was the DigiDuels tournament hosted by Drago, I believe. And yeah, shout out to him and Orange Swim and everyone else who was a part of that effort. You guys organized a very fun tournament, very well organized event. But anyways, okay, so I ended up getting 4th place, which is okay. There were, I want to say, like 30-ish people in this tournament. True champion Steven actually ended up getting first with some sort of like green rest turbo deck. So shout out to him. That was a fun match to watch. But yeah, I managed to do okay for like my first tournament, showing. So I just wanted to show you guys this deck because it was a lot of fun. This is post Union Impact. Union Impact was legal for this tournament, not the starter decks actually. So yeah, this is with newer cards. Well, at least some of them, but a lot of the main like setup and function of this deck hasn't really changed from what we've seen. But yeah, I thought I'd give my spin on this. One of my favorite decks, and it was just a ton of fun to play. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. Alright, so let's start off with the rookies. For one, we got Patamon here. Now, this Patamon is amazing, mainly because of his inheritable effect. Of course, that's why you're playing a lot of these rookies. The two best ones, in my opinion, being Patamon and Labramon, both because their inheritable effects activate when a monster's DP is reduced to 0, and that's the whole goal of this deck, right? Your whole goal is to set up your tamers, get ShineGreymon onto the field, maybe, throw in a Glorious Burst or two, and reduce your opponent's Digimon's DP to 0, thus destroying them, and just gaining advantage off of that and really punishing your opponent for putting monsters on the field. So Patamon's really good because it just gives you another memory, and a lot of your cards are kind of high cost. Glorious Burst is a 9 just by itself. ShineGreymon's 4 to drop, so that extra memory does help. So yeah, just Patamon, amazing card. And then Labramon here, just the same idea. You really just want to get advantage off of your opponent's Digimon being destroyed, so the more of these cards you are playing, the better. And fun fact about this card, which I actually did not know until someone pointed this out to me, apparently if you destroy multiple Digimon at the same time, like if let's say you drop a ShineGreymon and 2 Digimon are having their DP reduced to 0, you actually draw for one for each of those Digimon. So if 2 Digimon are simultaneously destroyed, you'll draw 2 cards. That only happened to me once in the tournament, maybe once or twice, I believe. But yeah, that's still insane. I love Labramon just getting you those extra draws, especially because this deck is so reliant on the Tamers, on ShineGreymon and RiseGreymon to get you your setup. So drawing is always nice. Alright, so then for the other rookies, I am playing this BT1 Patamon, where when he is played, you reveal the top 4 and add all yellow tamers to your hand. So the key point here is that it is all, not just one, so you can add multiple, which is awesome. It's really your only rookie you want to play straight from your hand, and it's just a good setup card to help facilitate with your RiseGreymon and, get a couple tamers to hand. TK is also another essential card in this deck, so you really want to see him as much as possible. So that's what I'm playing for. And then the last rookies here, I am playing 14. I was debating not playing this many. I was debating playing 12 just because you have to make room for a lot of the tamers and the option cards. But personally, I feel like if you're playing less than 14, you are sacrificing consistency. I'm not saying it can't work, but for me, I really just like having this solid number. And any less is just like, sometimes you draw your opening hand and then you just don't open any rookies, and then you flip over your baby in the raising area and it just feels bad that you don't get to draw. So Agumon, just another solid inheritable effect where if you have 3 or more yellow tamers, you draw 1. Okay, so then moving on to the champions, who is, doubles as a rookie almost, only 2 Repamon. My main thing, just because of space reasons, I'm playing 14 rookies and 10 champions, so just 2 Repamon for now, mainly just because he's a 3 cost. He's a champion with the cost of a rookie, so he's just amazing in that regard. It's pretty easy to put him down and then just set up your RiseGreymon afterwards. So okay, so then for the other champions, we got Unimon. Of course, you got to play your 4 blockers here. Pretty standard, and just, especially this meta, because I'll get to my matchup details in a little bit. But because there are things like Ragnarlordmon and multiple security attacks and just things you really don't want to get hitting your stack, you need to play 4 Unimon. So yeah, 4 blockers, and then this is a newer card, Turuiemon, however you say this bunny's name. This is out of Union Impact, and it is the 1 cost to Digivolve for yellow, so yellow finally has a cheap option to go for the champion. Now, this is amazing for multiple reasons. I can't believe how many times I just gained advantage because of this card, because of the fact that it's a 1 cost. A lot of times you will start with 3 memory because of your TK. So with this card, you have the potential to go straight into a Mega from a rookie. If you pair it with something like ShineGreymon. Let's say if you have a rookie on field, maybe you played your Patamon the previous turn, you could Digivolve for 1, Digivolve again for 2, that's still within 3 memory, and then maybe drop a ShineGreymon the turn after. So Turuiemon is just so good for that, and then just also memory locking your opponent if they don't happen to have a tamer. Oftentimes when you're at 0 and you don't really want to give them that extra bit of space, you can just put this down for 1, and then they'll have to only get 1 action in for the turn and pass. So that's why Turuiemon is so good, especially with something like ShineGreymon. Again, same principle. The fact that it is a 2 to Digivolve for an ultimate is amazing, and lots of times you will just play this straight from your hand. I've been testing this out for a while, and I'm not actually playing Magna Angemon. You could definitely play some other ultimates, but for right now, I'm just sticking with ShineGreymon and ShineGreymon down here. And not much to say about him. Of course, ShineGreymon is definitely the best ultimate, the one you want to see in your hand the most time, mainly because when he is Digivolved, you get to play any yellow tamer straight from your hand without paying its cost. So you don't have to pay for TK or Kari or anything. So that's just amazing getting set up. And then, of course, if you have 3 or more, ShineGreymon will get that security attack +1, so that's always nice. And then, of course, the man himself, we'll get to that guy in a second. Of course, the man himself, ShineGreymon. I cannot tell you how good this card is, how much I love this Digimon. His effect is on par with so many level 7s, and the fact he can just clear your opponent's entire board if you have at least, ideally you want like 2 or 3 tamers set up minimum, is like when he starts to really get crazy. And the fact that he gains 1,000 for every tamer that you do have on your turn means that like a lot of times when I'm attacking security and then sometimes getting that that second check with this ShineGreymon, I don't have to worry about Ragnarlord or Omnimon or any of those crazy level 7s because ShineGreymon will be so strong already. So his effect is just amazing. You definitely want to max out on him. He is the heart and soul of the deck. Alright, now the other Mega I was playing is Kentaurismon. Now, a lot of you guys might be like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you playing this card? And I got that reaction from a lot of my opponents where they'd be expecting a ShineGreymon, but I put down Kentaurismon. Now, if you do have both of these in hand, you probably don't ever just want to put down Kentauris over ShineGreymon, and that's kind of the issue I ran into with this card. I'm not sure if I would continue playing 3 of this. I'll get to like what I'll change in this deck in a second, but first of all, he's insanely good. One, because he's a 3 cost, so he's cheaper than ShineGreymon. That's nice. But then also the effect where you give security attack -2 to up to 5 of your opponent's Digimon. So it's pretty much always like their whole field. And that is just so good because there was a couple of times where my opponent was just rookie rushing or spamming the field, and I dropped this, and I was able to survive and then just OTK them the next turn. So Kentaurismon is amazing. And then, of course, the whole DP reduction effect synergizes with the rest of this deck. There was one time where I attacked my opponent's security with Kentaurismon, and then I ran into something that was stronger. I don't remember what it was, but just like another Mega or whatever. And he died, and then I took 11,000 off of his ultimate where he was setting up for, like a Ragnarlord play, and then I just got advantage off of that because I had another Digimon on the field that had like, I think it was like Patamon underneath him, so I gained a memory off of that. So it was just amazing. My only gripe is that like I wish it was minus 12,000 instead of 11. 11 is such an awkward number because it does deal with a lot of megas, but a lot of the commonly played ones in like the meta, at least the tournament, were 12k, and it was just like a little bit shy of like being able to be really good. But yeah, not sure if I would continue to play 3. But yeah, it was good. It was fine in this tournament. Okay, so that's as far as the megas now. Well, okay, let's go ahead and get into the eggs and the option cards. Okay, before I talk about the tamers, because I'm gonna get roasted on that. Now for the eggs, I think these are probably the best ones. So Tokamon is good just because he synergizes with that DP reduction effect, and the extra 1000 is nice. Ubamon is just really good because there are a lot of times when if your opponent is rushing you, and then you get that draw when your security is 3 or less. There are a couple other options that are similar to Upamon. I believe Cupimon. If your security is 5 or more, you get to draw one when attacking. But I really wanted to like have the extra draw when I'm already in trouble. So that's why I went Upamon. I just think he's a little bit better in that regards. Okay, so then for the option cards, alright, I'm playing 2 Glorious Burst. First of all, this card's amazing. The fact that it gets reduced, the cost gets reduced by 1 for every one of your yellow tamers makes it so it's so good. There were lots of times where I resolved this card for like 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever. Just a very cheap DP reduction effect that will kill every level 6 or lower, right? This is guaranteed to kill basically every level 6 or lower. And then you'll also, get advantage off of it if you have a Labramon or Patamon underneath. But yeah, Glorious Bird is just amazing. The only reason why I wasn't playing more than 2 is because early game it can kind of suck because you don't want to use this on anything that's not a mega. So if your opponent has maybe a blocker or like a ultimate where they're setting up for a mega play, this kind of doesn't do the job as well because you're just wasting memory. And then the fact that it's a 9, it means if you don't have any tamer, it really hurts to play this. I do not want to give my opponent 9 memory under any circumstance. So that's the kind of the reason why I wasn't playing more, and also because it doesn't actually have a security effect. So I didn't really want to run into this insecurity when my opponent's attacking. And then now, kind of to offset that, I was playing 1 copy of 7 Heavens just because this is a minus 10,000, so it deals with basically everything 5 or lower, right? This will deal with 5 or lower, this will deal with 6 or lower, and then not only that, but this also does have a security effect, and it's just a little bit cheaper, while Glorious Burst can have that. Ideally it could be free, right? But a lot of times early game, 7 Heavens, or sorry, Strike of the 7 Stars will be cheaper and just a better option. So I just like the extra destruction. I might play 3 Glorious Bursts in the future, not sure on that. But I think the ratios of these option cards was fine. In fact, I think the ratios of basically every Digimon I played in this deck was great. There was never a moment where I was missing a rookie, and typically I always had a champion or ultimate to play. The only times I lost a game in this tournament was 1 because I didn't have ShineGreymon, or 2 because I didn't have my tamer set up. Now, you'll notice here, I'm only playing 8 tamers, okay? A lot of builds will have you playing every single, there's only 3 yellow tamers. There's this TK, there's a starter deck TK, and then there is this Kari. Now, going forward, I would definitely play more tamers. Now, I'm not exactly sure on the ratios I would play. I might play like 3 Kari and like add in 3 starter deck TK, or maybe 4 Akari and 3 of him. I'm not entirely sure. However, my reasoning behind this was of course this TK is the best one, right? TK Takeishi is hands down the best one because 1, he has that memory effect where you get 3 at the start of your turn, and that is essential to so many of your plays. And then also because he's like the best search card in the game. You get to look through your security, you will always get that recovery +1 effect, and you just get to search for whatever you need, and it makes his deck so much more consistent. And then of course hitting on security is always amazing. Kari is insane because there were a lot of times when my opponent put me down to 3 or less, and then you just start steamrolling with this deck. Like, if you start to get resolve 1 or 2 Karis, it just starts to build up, and it's kind of crazy. And the 3 cost helps out because, if you start with 3, you can do this and one more thing. Now, the reason I would play the other TK is because there were a lot of times I just didn't have a tamer. There were many times I played that, the Patamon, right, this Patamon up here, and then I just didn't reveal any tamers. And I mean, that's to be expected. I am only playing 8. 8 is like the bare minimum. I would never play any less than this because then you're just not going to see it. This was fine. It worked out. But I will say the reasons I lost the games I did was because I did not have enough tamers, so that when I dropped ShineGreymon, it wasn't as powerful. or something along those lines. But the fact that TK is a 2 cost, the other TK starter deck TK is a 2 cost, just makes it so good, and I will definitely play that. My only reasoning for that was like I didn't want to change the ratios of any of the other cards. I didn't want to sacrifice on a consistency with the rookies or champions or anything. And then his effect is like okay, just a plus 2,000 to your security. But I just felt like these cards were definitely better. But yeah, you should probably play TK, the starter deck TK. So yeah, that is the deck. Now, as far as my matchups, and then, okay, let's talk about the things I would change first. We mentioned the TK. Other things to consider, maybe instead of Contorsmon, I will probably try testing out Slash Angemon, at least 1 or 2 copies of him. Because if you don't have ShineGreymon, it sucks, but oftentimes this can get rid of a lot of 5 or lower. So Slash Angemon's still a great card. Yeah, didn't test them out too much. But you should probably play him. All right, and then the other card was this mainly because I did actually end up losing to Rookie Rush, and I forget your name, but the guy who got 3rd place was playing like a yellow-purple Rookie Rush, and Mistymon might just be a card to consider because it is a 7 cost. But you get to minus 3,000 from 2 of your opponent's Digimon, so potentially you get to take out 2 rookies. Now, this is matchup dependent, of course, so I'm not sure if I would play this. I might test out like 1 or 2, but it's just another DP reduction to consider, and that's really what this deck is about. Okay, so as far as matchups go, so I played four games, 4 rounds, okay? So first round was against a Ragnalord like black-red hybrid. Second round was against a Ragnalord red deck, and then third round was against a Omnimon. I guess I should put these together. Omnimon, ShineGreymon like red turbo deck, where you're just basically you're turboing out Omnimon Ultra S. Okay, so for one, these decks are scary, dude. And the thing is that this was post Union Impact, so this is probably a good indicator of what our meta might look like once we get 1.5 in the English set, which I believe that is late February. So if hopefully if we are having official tournaments or just more online tournaments by then, this might be what our meta will look like. Now, Ragnalord is scary, okay? There was a couple times where these decks are basically just like trying to get him out with like a shit ton of materials. There's a couple times where like my opponent had a Ragnalord that had like security attack +4, it had jamming, it had reboot, when it attacked it would gain a memory, and like it was a blocker, like all this crazy, literally every effect you could ever think of goes onto this card and just makes it insane. And then on top of that, he was playing Breath of the Gods, so then I couldn't even reduce its DP. And it's like the thing, that's why another reason why I do like this ShineGreymon deck is because you can deal with Omnimon Ultra S and Ragnalord, and it's one of the few decks that can actively deal with level 7s without too much difficulty if you have enough, if you have enough tamers. Let's say you had 4 tamers, you dropped ShineGreymon, you could take out either of these guys. But it's just so scary because if you don't have a blocker against Ragnalord, like there was the time where he was going to check all 5 of my security cards with 1 attack. So this card is definitely just something to keep in mind and look out for. Omnimon in a similar route, just because he has the ability to just wipe your whole board. Like there was a lot of times where you would just de-digivolve everything. I was about to drop a ShineGreymon, and this card just prevents that, and then it also has the effect where you can return a Digivolution source level 6, and then it can't be blocked. So blockers might not be the best against him, but yeah, Omnimon is just another very scary threat to consider. And then now, just last like little card here, I honestly underestimated ShineGreymon. This card is actually crazy. D-Digivolve -2 is a very underrated effect. 1, because it does not destroy, and 2, because it just gets rid of the problem outright. Like, if you look at things like Blue has removal in the forms of like Kokaitis Breath, things like that, the return in the hand, but honestly, that just gives you the opportunity to drop that card again. Whereas if you look at things like DP reduction, okay, ShineGreymon deck can do that, but it does require setup. Now, Digivolve gets around all destruction effects, so it actually does get around Breath of the Gods, which is awesome. But then, yeah, I just underestimated this card, and I just wanted to say, yeah, this card is insane. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the tournament, and how it went. But yeah, so that is the deck profile. Um, like I said, tournament was a lot of fun. I would definitely go to one of those events again. And this deck was so much fun to play. I had a blast. I think this deck is legitimately competitive, even with all the crazy stuff coming out of Union Impact. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And yeah, thank you for watching, and look forward to more Digimon content.